Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Dawson County Board of Commissioners work session. Today is December the 16th, 2021. Appreciate all of you that are in attendance, as well as all of you that are with us online. We'll get right into the new business. First up, we have presentation of Family Connection 2022 physical agent request. Family Connection Coordinator Rebecca Bliss. Is Rebecca here? Rebecca, come on up. Rebecca, when you get here, if you'll turn that microphone on, that would be great.
We're good?
Good.
My name is Rebecca Bliss. I'm here on behalf of Dawson County Family Connection as the coordinator. My agenda item is to request that Dawson County government continue to be Dawson County Family Connections fiscal agent for the 2022 year. So since 1999, Dawson County government has been our fiscal agent, a partnership that is greatly appreciated in Family Connection. Because of our affiliation with a government entity like yourself, where our funding opportunities increase exponentially. The grant opportunities that we're available for simply by being associated with a government agency and being able to take reimbursable grants, the funding opportunities. On the grant side alone, plus our affiliation with somebody that's as credible and has such a fine reputation as yourself, contributors are more apt to want to donate to us because they know that our funds will be used in the intent that it is supposed to be. So it is my hope that in 2022 that you will continue to be our fiscal agent, a partnership that is greatly appreciated by myself, and we can continue to help the community, the children and family of Dawson County.
Questions for Rebecca?
Are there any changes in the
No, ma'am.
memorandum? No changes, the same old.
No, ma'am. The only change that's going to be made is how it is presented. It will be electronically transferred from Department of Human Services to Billy, and he'll electronically sign it. But the content is not changed.
Okay. That's all.
Any other questions? We need to move this forward to the voting session.
Just for the ease of being able to start fresh with this
January.
in place, agreement in place for January 1st.
Y'all good with that? All right. Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Appreciate you.
Next up, we have presentation of intergovernmental agreement between Dawson County and the city of Dawsonville concerning cross-jurisdictional right-of-way mowing. Public Works Director Denise Farr. Denise.
Afternoon. Commissioners, Mr. Chairman, I'm here to present today for your review and recommendation, the right-of-way mowing agreement or IGA between Dawson County and the city of Dawsonville. If you will reference the map in your packet, you'll see that the parcels shaded in orange or yellow orange are those belonging to the city. The ones in green are the counties. I'm sure you'll notice also that there's a large section of city parcels that are positioned in our outlying areas of the county. Those right-of-ways and roads are maintained by the city. For example, if Cleveland Road, you'll notice the north part of that road is bordered by the orange parcels. The southern portion is more bordered by the green ones. So the city maintains the northern part and we maintain the southern part. We mow all of our right-of-way, the Public Works departments do. The city, however, contracts that out to an independent contracting firm. They've reached out to us and expressed their concern. It's quite expensive for mobilization and additional crews to reach some of these outlying areas. And at times we have tried to help, especially if there's been a safety issue with the right-of-way there, intersections of our road. So several weeks ago, the county manager and myself met with the city manager and discussed these issues. And our solution is presented here in the IGA. Basically, the agreement says that the county will mow the right-of-way on Duck Thurman, Gold Mine, and
Leave right.
yes, Cleve Wright Road in its entirety, and that the city will in turn mow all of Perimeter Road and J.C. Burke. That's both sides of the road. The city will also mow Hauser Mill, again at the intersection of Highway 53 to Calvary Baptist Church, and then the county will pick up at the church and mow to Highway 183. This IGA is just for mowing services. There's no maintenance involved at all. We have agreed to mow the right of way at least 3 times a mowing season. And we have both agreed that those right of ways have to be clear of any debris before we can mow those right of ways. That's the IGA and the gist. So if anyone has any questions?
Questions for Denise?
What about any of it downtown? I know, because you'll see their mowers mow up to a stop sign, then go around the courthouse, and we're mowing the courthouse or the health department, and they go right around us. And did we talk about any of that too?
No, sir, we did not.
Because I mean, we're going around each other all around downtown.
We didn't bring that up. No.
Like
I'd like to
facilities,
find out something about that, because right now facilities and I would, we had some inmates doing something
Facilities in the
too.
sheriff's department, has certain areas within this, within the downtown area that's mowed. So we're looking more at the outlier.
Right.
Areas that are difficult for them to reach.
I'd
so
like
they
to
don't have
find out on
much
some of
area out
that
there.
too, because we're mowing around each other. See it in the county.
And of course, as in the future, if properties annex in or what have you, and we have these further discussions, then we would certainly want to come back and be able to modify this, but we felt an IGA, which hasn't been done in the past, would be of record, so that as we continue forward and these things become available, we have a document that can run with the land, so to speak.
So if I understand this, the city's already voted and approved this as well.
That's my understanding.
Okay, he's got the signature on it.
Yes.
Okay,
Denise, can we change that on the DOT? Did we ever get any kind of response back from them on mowing 400 and off the road of 400?
They sent us their updated mowing agreement, and I forwarded that today, but there was very pages of conditions. And I didn't think that would be something that we would be interested in.
Conditions we'd have to do?
Yes,
Did they do a dollar amount, how much it cost them?
they did not.
No cost, just conditions.
I'd like to see us, if we could get a cost, what they're paying to get it done, and maybe they give us that money, we'd get it done, because it's not being done right.
Well, the maintenance agreement didn't consist of just the mowing. It consisted basically of everything. We take everything over. It's
Yeah,
picking up trash, that's doing, full
Culverts.
maintenance of those particular
Yeah.
areas.
Turning
I just like to see
lanes.
the cost, because
okay.
I don't think we're getting our money's worth, just my opinion on 400.
So you want me to ask GDOT what their cost is for
Mhm.
just that area?
County line to county line, from the north to south.
other questions for Denise? Were we talking about moving this to the voting session? Was there any? No,
I
No.
didn't see that.
no need? Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. Next up, presentation of contract 386-21, design build services for 2 artificial infield grass surfaces change order, Parks and Recreation Director Matt Payne and Purchasing Manager Melissa Hall.
I
Pat.
will, yes, I will be using their expertise quite a bit, because this is a little bit of a bigger one. First of all, thank you for having me once again, and Merry Christmas to you. If you will remember, just recently, we had to go out to bid for some design for some turf fields at Rock Creek Park. And to do those fields, first of all, let me say how incredibly good of a job that Mr. Talbert did years ago about putting these ball fields, this entire park on this particular piece of property, because it is very wet. And when we did this bid now, once we awarded this bid to Sprint Turf, that was correct? We awarded the bid to Sprint Turf. They came out and started doing their due diligence and started working on this project. And we have discovered that we have some very unsuitable soils at Rock Creek because it is so wet. Now, they have presented us with a change order to get this project moving again. So if you'll remember, May the 6th of 2021, we approved out of the SPOS 6 coverage funds in the amount of 1.595 for us to be using, doing several different projects. The request for proposal was released on June the 5th for this design build to be done. And we awarded on September the 2nd, $1.2 million with a 10% contingency to Sprint Turf to do the project. Some of the scope of work include the project design. And during this phase of the project design, their geotechnical investigation basically found out that we have very unsuitable soils. Now, we in turn decided we're going to do our own investigation to find out, maybe not that anybody's trying to do anything underhanded to us, but we want to make sure that we are actually looking at the same things. Our investigation did find that the same problems exist, that we have very unstable ground at Rock Creek, and to do what we need to do is going to be a change order. I can't hardly see, so I may call on you, Melissa. The amount of this change order is $287,319, and the breakout, you have the breakdown in front of you, which shows what all this will entail. Basically, in a nutshell, that we're going to have to build up the ground quite a bit, and we're going to have to stabilize the ground that we're building up to put these fields down there. Again, the use of the materials is listed here in front of you. And the total cost of this change order is $369,061. That's to do everything that's going to be needed to do these two fields at Rock Creek. This is you can see the fields that we are looking to do. Actually, when we met with them, we determined that that top field might even be the better option, but two of these three fields are still in the scope of work to be done along with this change order. Now, I want to paint the picture very clearly that we have several different options here as to what we could do. One option is to accept this change order, and this $360,000 can come out of impact fees. I have concurred with finance that this money is there. We can do this. So we can take this $360,000 out of impact fees, add it to this, was of course the change order, add it to this and move forward as is. We could simply back up and punt and say, you know what, Veterans Park or Rock Creek Park is just not suitable for this particular type of a project, and we can move this project to the fields at Veterans Park. We could back up and say, well, let's rebid it and do the same project again at Rock Creek and see if we can get the number how we want it with a completely different bid. My recommendation, now I want to say this very clearly, this is just my recommendation. I want you guys to make this decision that would be in the best interest of the taxpayers. My recommendation, or the recommendation of staff, is to respectfully request the board to cancel the current contract with Sprint Turf and Field 1 and Field 2 at Rock Creek and reassign current funding to other top priority needs of the Recreation Department. I say that to say we had looked in doing, we had looked into the pricing of another rec center. Perhaps we could put this money towards another rec center. Well, just in the last day or so, we've determined that that is off the charts expensive now because everything has went up. So that's probably not the best way to spend taxpayer money right now. There's a couple different options for you to decide on how you want to proceed with this. We can accept this change order, come out of our impact fee money. We can back up and rebid the entire project, move the entire project over to the fields at Veterans Park. So I'm presenting this to you as three different, if that's correct, if that's the three basic options that we're presenting to you. And just know that we gave it a good shot at Rock Creek, and we can still do it, but it's going to be quite a bit more. I'll be happy to try to answer any questions that you have.
Well, Matt and I spoke about this a little bit earlier, but I guess my biggest concern is if we rebid the thing, that's going to come back in a whole lot bigger price than the change order would be, because we've got a company that had a pretty good price the first time, and what they found is what everybody else found. So that's going to have to be fixed one way or the other.
And you're also
To do the fields there.
6 months later and cost
You're-
is only
yeah.
increased.
And it's only going to go higher and higher, and we have the money in impact fees. So my personal recommendation would be to proceed and to spend the money out of impact fees, and let's get this done at Rock Creek, because that's where this type of stuff gets done every day.
Mhm.
And so I think that, I mean, to me, that's the best option than rebidding it or trying to move up to veterans and do the same thing and try to move what you're playing up there down to the other park. and-
Right now, keeping in mind, Mr.
Change.
Thurman.
And we got money in Splosh 7 to do that. at
Splosh
veterans.
7 does cover the fields at
So
Veterans
we were
Park to
getting
have
those
them
done
turned.
anyway.
Yeah, there's a long history on this particular project that supersedes your time here, and the parents and kids that are in the soccer program have been waiting for many years for this project to get done. So to pull the rug out from under them at this stage is not good. I don't agree with that. It is a cost overrun. I get that. But there was a commitment made to them with past Splosh projects and things like that, or commitments that it needs to get done. So I'm like the chairman. I'd say rebidding it's going to be an increased cost just because we're seeing cost of everything go up. So if we were to pull the current one and rebid it, we're rebidding it today's numbers versus 6 months ago numbers. So I don't see that we're going to have any savings in that process. Plus we're to delay even more. So
Could we send out, can we get a bid on removing and bringing the suitable soils in?
That would cause, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Hawk, that would require a brand new bid because the scope of work would completely change.
But just, I mean, not on the installation or put it in the turf, but
We could actually do that because we do put in all of our contracts that we reserve the right to contract for portions or all of what we
Right.
have the contract there for now.
so we could do that.
We could do that, but who knows if the pricing is going to be any different?
I mean,
Because Sprint Turf is not doing this. It's a local company within the area that has done them down in Forsyth that's doing the civil work, the
I
site
mean, we
work.
got dirt across the street. If we talk to the Board of Education and Etowah that we've used when we built that park.
Right, and that is
That's-
where it's
that's
in
where
the
they're
bid
gonna
where
get
they're
there.
going to be
Where the dirt's
bringing
gonna
in
come
as
from,
much
so
of it as they can.
If we had it bid that out of removing and hauling that dirt in and compacting it,
Right.
I mean, that's,
And the Board of Education said they're not really sure what's left now of the dirt that can be suitable.
there's plenty of
So.
red
we
clay
don't-
over there.
I'm not an engineer by no means in that, so I don't know what that would entail. But they'll be checking that. And there is a lower price if they can bring it in from there. But then the higher price that we have in here is the maximum not to
Okay,
exceed.
coming from,
if
so we'll
they
get a
have to
better
bring it
price if it comes from
off-site.
over there.
Right.
Okay.
There is a much lower price. That's a
Okay.
couple
Can we
of,
reach out to somebody
couple
on
of
that?
slides backwards.
And I should have done a better job.
No, that's
of
okay.
explaining that.
Well, we could. I mean, you're right. We could reach out, but I guess my concern reaching out here is how much longer is that going to take in another bid process to get that done?
So if the.
Is that another
so-
2 or
if the
3 months of
soils-
wait?
Right. If the soil is good across the street at BOE where it's in the bid that they'll bring it in, it's $9.94. They got to bring it out at $16.94, I think it is, per cubic yard.
And so your high water mark is the 369,061. So you won't exceed that. And if we are able to get for Tim's idea across the street, then it could come in less.
And as this particular slide talks about, there's also the water table, even after they do this cement compacting that they're talking about doing, they're still going to come back and do another test just to make sure that that water table is not seeping in to
Mhm.
make damage to what they're planning on repairing in the first place. And then working around the utilities, so you don't want to dig into that once you put it in for utilities or anything like that. So they'll do a lot of testing along the way too. That price is already included.
Who decides whether the dirt is good? All dirt is not equal. I know that.
Right,
They
right.
test it.
An
So-
engineering firm will
Different
test it,
Engineer-
show us the
engineer
reports.
The engineer, okay.
Right, and theirs that they used was Davis Engineering, and we hired S&ME to do ours, to do the
But what we've
geotesting.
got there is just not good.
It's not.
Low land.
Below the
Just-
table, 2 feet below the grounding is just saturated down the standing water. And that's what they're gonna try to mediate so that the ground.
was built in
do
the
not mess
floodplain.
up. Right,
It's
it's
about
built in a
far short.
floodplain.
Yeah.
So-
And that was built. was built
And
in
from what I
Florida.
understand, the
that's where
berm
you
is
get
doing a
good
good
deals on
job
land.
keeping Etowah
Yeah,
River
yeah.
off, but it's just the rain itself with being on that floodplain, almost if you put a house on one.
Well, if you go to the edge of Rock Creek Park down there where the walking trail is, you can see how much fill dirt they added in
Yeah, you
From
drop off and
where the
Wet
drop
feet.
off is there, because that's how high they raised it to get it to where it is today. When that was built.
like I say.
years ago.
Miraculous that we've got a park there. It's
Mhm.
awesome. But
Mhm.
Just a swamp.
So what exactly are they talking about doing? Are they gonna pull some of the dirt out and then put it back in and then
That's
do
what
the
I-
cement?
Down to 2 feet, they'll pull out the unsuitable soil.
Okay,
And then bring back in and then do the soil cement on top of that.
okay, so they'll pull it out, put the dirt back in and then seal that with the cement
Right.
stabilization.
And then all of the other parts of the actual field that they need to.
Will be
to
on
do the
top of
layers.
drainage and all
Right,
that they put in
right.
on top of that. And I guess you kind of answered my question with you said they're gonna be testing it along the way. If everything turns out like it's supposed to, life of the field's still supposed to be the same once
yes,
it's done,
yes.
right? I
Right,
mean,
right.
it's,
But there's also no guarantee that once they get to a certain point and they get ready to start looking at that water table underneath, that there might not need to be even more funds
we-
put back in there.
we could spend a
For
couple
that.
$100,000 and it still not work.
They say it will, but they have to also test underneath that to make sure about that standing water that's 3 and 4 feet down.
Yeah,
Can't do that on the front end?
From what they say, they can't. I have no knowledge. I
Yes,
don't know if
it's,
Denise, she's not even in here. I don't know. I was gonna say, I don't know if Denise knows more about it than I do, but
We could core it and chat, test
To
it.
say that again,
Do they
Chairman?
not do that on the front end? Is there some methodology to be able to test that water 4 or 5 feet deep?
Well, that they should have already done that. That's where they're coming up with the 2 feet. And they're looking at the layers of soil and what those soils represent. And that representation will tell them what they need to do. And they'll come up with a design mix to be able to, what they need to take out to get to that certain clean level, so to speak, and then bring in clean dirt and then mix that in and then bring the cement in, similar to what we do with the FDR that you're seeing. And that's where that comes from. So they've already tested the soils and come up with a,
Plan.
a design.
Oh, it just
Okay.
covers
Design
bases
mix.
to have
Mhm.
the extra
right,
money.
I'm
But
sure
they're
that's
gonna test
probably
it as
that,
they come up.
all other things aside kind of thing that. the
Yeah.
Disclaimer they put in there, but
Okay.
there's that possibility.
well, I hate to spend the extra money, but we're not gonna move the park and it would be useless if we didn't
Right.
Yeah.
do something
And
there
I'm like
anyway.
Chris, those kids in the soccer fields, this has been going on
Yeah.
a long time. And
Well, yeah, that's
they-
been part of the Splosh 6 for the whole time of Splosh 6, and then we're fixing to be in Splosh 7, and we haven't done anything on it yet.
Mhm. And to sort of reiterate on what Matt was saying earlier about the building itself to do that prefab gym. There's not a lot of site work that needs to be done in the spot that we were talking about earlier. And it was gotten a quote by Charles Black, who did the Public Works and Fleet and the transfer station. That whole project was less than 4 million. And for this one building, 100 feet by 280,
Yeah, it's not
which is
bad.
very close to what the Public Works building is. They're saying it's at 6 million right now.
Oh,
It's just
Metal,
that crazy in 2 years.
Steel,
So
the lack thereof.
it's just pricing is going crazy right now.
Okay. Other questions for Matt or Melissa?
We need to move this forward so we don't lose
No.
any time, because when there a time frame, I mean, we're trying to get this thing done before the spring soccer season.
Yeah, but that's probably not gonna happen at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are definitely
So
gonna
much
have
work.
to do some special stuff
Yeah.
for them this spring,
Yeah.
perhaps moving the veterans for the temporary.
Okay.
So that's, I don't know that time is an
Gotcha.
issue right now.
Okay.
I want you to think about it, and make the best decision for sure.
Who did, you said we did our own test. Did we have our standby civil engineer do a test or?
We don't have a standby civil engineer contract. We just
Oh, I
went
thought
out
we
and
did.
asked 3 different companies that was not the one they used to give us quotes. And it was $2,900 and they did confer. I
So
mean,
they did the
concur.
test. They went down and bored.
They did the
Yeah,
borings
they
themselves.
confirmed that what Sprint Turk has
Right.
said is
That's
correct.
true. They concur with what the findings were.
Because I know we got some locals here that do that boring and test they call it kilts or something. They test the pressure on it,
Mhm.
see how far you gotta go down to get civil salt. Yeah,
Over my head.
I didn't know if we used anybody local on that.
SM&E, they're pretty local. I mean, they're not here in Dawsonville, but they had the better price. We did ask Mill Creek and Davis Engineering, I think it was, and they had the better price.
Other questions? Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Next up, presentation of IFB NOS number 39921, sale of surplus real property owned by Dawson County Board of Commissioners, Miss Melissa.
Yes, so there's 3 parcels that we had inside this bid. That's in the Fern Valley Forest subdivision.
Mhm.
They're parcels 0499191 for 0.38 acres, 0499192 for 0.31 acre, and 0499193 for 0.28 of an acre, and that's a total of only 0.97 acres. Those were the 3 parcels that was in this bid. We did receive 1 offer on December 8th when it opened from Robert and Janice Cleed. And for the 0.38 of an acre, they offered 1,800. For the 0.31 of an acre, they offered 1,600. And for the 0.28 of an acre, they offered 1,600. That's a total of 5,000. And just for point of reference, they are the owners of the adjoining parcel at 049,190. What we're asking for you to do is to just mill over their offer and to decide whether you want to accept their bid as a stand and then do the NOA with all of the requirements of the OCGA for the purchase, or if you want to rebid. I'm sorry, reject. And if you do want to reject, do you want to rebid or do you just want to do no further on the matter? Just let it lie.
Well, comment, I don't have a question, but I have a comment. 5,000 is more than it's worth to us right now. Plus, if we sell it to somebody, then we get property tax off of that, because we're not paying property tax on it right now, because we own it and we can't do anything with it.
It's not an acre.
It's non-buildable. So my thought process on it would be to depart it from our ownership.
I agree. Sell it. We got some more we need to look at. We tried, we didn't try. again.
Questions for Melissa? Anybody got a question for her in reference to that one?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll vote on that on the 20th then. Okay. All right, next up. Presentation of title and grade change for 2 information technology IT employees, IT Director Herman Thompson. Herman.
Good afternoon. You may remember from my budget presentation that I had proposed a restructuring of the IT department to include moving 2 employees, changing their title and their pay grade to a different level. Inside your packet, you have got a org chart showing exactly what I'm proposing. This is a structure that will carry us forward into the future. These 2 employees are very deserving of a pay grade change and a title change.
You want to talk a little bit more about the cost?
Yeah, the overall cost on the breakdown that you have there is $21,348.54 to make this change.
For both.
Yes, that's a total. I'm correct in that, right?
Yeah, it's in here somewhere. I did read that.
Was this, didn't you have something in about this in part of your budget?
He did.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
he proposed it at the budget time, but that time I didn't make that recommendation based on the fact that we were trying to make sure that we upgraded his department with more help,
Yes.
because he needed more help
And this
at
is
that
a
particular
This is
time.
a big part of the overall
Yeah.
change to the IT department.
And the reason we're seeing it, I mean, otherwise he could have went to David without it having been a title change and a pay grade change,
Correct.
which means it has to come to the Board of Commissioners for that to happen. Otherwise, he could have went to David in reference to that money that we provided to him and asked for that if he'd
And,
stayed with the same.
The county
grade.
manager and I have discussed this on multiple occasions. So, and that is why I am here.
Well, I will say that your department does a whole lot of work
Yes.
and that they don't just do it 8 to 5. They do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because I receive information from you on a regular basis about this broke or that broke. And we'll be down for this much time or that much time. And so I know that it currently takes all the hands that you have on deck, plus hopefully the 2 that we're giving you on top of that will take some of that load off of the crowd you already have
Absolutely.
and let them do that. So,
And this will help us streamline our process.
yeah, and so it was a recommendation that he made during the thing, but in an effort to try to use as much money, the money that we had around to as many departments, I did not make that recommendation at that time, but I would say to you now that I'm not against that if that's what the board would like to do.
And the money comes from,
Have to come out of fund balance.
General fund.
Yeah. True.
and that was 100,000.
Did the 21, let me ask you this question, and Vicky, you may be able to answer this better. $21,000 total, is that based on what they currently make today? What they're currently making today?
Yes.
Okay, so that doesn't include the 2,080 that we had already granted that would go towards these. So your 21,000 number come off their current salary? Huh?
Does not.
Does not include the 2,080 that they would normally get. So it's actually less than, we would have to come up with actually less than that because we already approved 2,080 for each one of these individuals.
Mhm.
Correct? So that would take it down to about 17. Okay. All right. And so I see on here that you wanted us to consider voting on this today.
If you would, please. Yeah,
Okay.
the sooner I can do this, the better I can go ahead and move forward with my plans for next year.
Y'all good with moving it?
I'm
Okay.
fine with it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
Very
you.
good. with
Thank
it.
you all very much and Merry Christmas.
Good.
Tonight. Move it
Yeah,
tonight.
moving that.
Mhm.
All right, next up, presentation of updated Title VI plan in Georgia Department of Transportation, Drug and Alcohol Policy for 2022. Human Resources Director Christy Finn. Christy, now that was a long read, let me tell you.
Good afternoon. Yes, every 2 years, we have a renewal of the Title VI plan. It's just a review and update for federal regulations. So what you have before you is the updated plan. And then in addition to that, we also have the drug and alcohol policy as it pertains to the GDOT transportation. The transportation or the GDOT policy for the drug and alcohol did see a couple of changes that we noted in there. And the largest of that is our plan has always required us to have a substance abuse professional that we are affiliated with for reference. They are now requiring that we have 2 of those. So we have added a second, and that is Claudia Gerber. She is listed there in your packet. And then the other slightly important change is that as HR director, I will assist the program in serving as the Dawson County Transit Drug and Alcohol Program Manager. So my name had to be updated along with my information. But other than that, our drug policy stays the same.
Questions for Christy? If you were tired and you read all this, then you were asleep. I'm gonna tell you. Took me a long time to read through that. But I did read it.
I read it in sections.
So you want us to move this, needs to be voted on tonight, please?
Yes, please. They would like to have it approved for 2021 to stay within the 2-year compliance. So if we could do that, that would be wonderful.
You good with that?
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, next we have presentation, board appointments, Industrial Building Authority, Gary Coates, that's a reappointment. Term January 2022 through December 2025. Ryan Trapnell, reappointment, term January 2022 through December 2025. Planning Commission, Jason Hamby, District 1, reappointment, term January 2022 through December 2022. Seth Stowers, District 1, alternate reappointment, term January 2022 through December 2022. Tim Bennett, District 3, reappointment, term January 2022 2022 through December 2022, and Jean
Mariaski.
Maransky, District 3, alternate reappointment term January 2022 through December 2022. And if you remember, we made the changes sometime back, so these coincide with the board terms. So I would make those recommendations to you on the Industrial Building Authority and the Planning Commission, and we also need to move those so that they can carry on with their business in January, if y'all are good with that. Okay, so we'll move those as well. We have tax assessor Roxanne Howard, appointment term January 2022 through December 2026. We have one opening on the tax assessor board, so you will have two people to see to make your decision on in reference to that one appointment in the voting session. So I would recommend her name to you as well there. And we'll move that to the voting session as well. If y'all are good with that.
I'm good with it.
Okay. County Manager David.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, Commissioners. So you do have your key indicator reports for the month of November, as well as a list of the agreements and contracts that are in your packet that were signed by me. The county offices will be closed on Friday, December the 24th, and Monday, the 27th, December, for the Christmas holidays, and Friday, December the 31st for the New Year's holiday. I would also ask that the board consider voting on the Rock Creek Park Fields tonight for the reason that we would lose a month, I believe it is, if it is not voted on this evening, and Matt can speak to that,
Okay.
as that was asked earlier.
Well,
But I
thought he
think it
said
is.
wasn't a big
Well,
deal.
yes, Mr. Chairman, while I was speaking with you, Brian has been communicating with me through the phone, Brian Young, that the plans, everything is ready to go. They're literally sitting on go. And because of the way the holidays fall, because of a couple of things, they would literally lose a month, maybe even 6 weeks if we wait till after the first of the year to approve it.
Yeah, because our next
So-
meeting ain't till January 20th.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
I should have done better homework on that. I apologize for that, but he did catch me and requested that we push that up if at
So
all
he's
possible.
listening. That's good.
He's watching. He's doing his job. That's right.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. And that concludes my report, Chairman.
Questions for the county manager? County attorney report.
I have no public report, but would ask for executive session to discuss pending litigation.
Okay. And that would be just pending litigation. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Do I have a motion to go in executive session?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Fawcett,
Second.
second by Commissioner Dooley. Discussion. Hearing none, please vote. Not doing it.
No.
No.
Everything went out.
I can't see it on mine.
It's up there, so.
Okay.
All our screens went out.
All right. She can see it.
Where's
All
Harmon?
right. So it passed 4-0. And so take about 5 minutes and then we'll go into executive session. Appreciate all those of you that are attendance with us, as well as those of you that are online with us. We will hope you stay with us. We'll be back at 6 o'clock for our voting session. Thank you.